Hey friends, welcome to episode 6 of We All Got Stories, a podcast brought to you by Friends Who Flourish, where we sit and we talk with entrepreneurs. We hear about their business, their products and services, but more importantly, I'm interested in their journey and the story as to how they flourished and what's more to come. And I'm so happy that today I am with the Covingtons. They are the owner of Sonkissed Gatherings. So thank you for tuning in. Make sure if you have not subscribed, you hit that subscribe button. And if you're on Instagram, make sure you're following.
Hello. We are Tim and Stormi Covington, the owners of Sonkissed Gatherings, where we set up intimate setups as well as balloons and backdrops. If you'd like to get in touch with us, you can reach us at admin@sonkissedgatherings.com, and that is SON, because we believe where 2 or 3 are gathered, He is in the midst. Looking forward to connecting with you soon.
All right, hey friends, again, we're here for episode 6 of We All Got Stories, brought to you by Friends Who Flourish, and we are here with the Covingtons. And as all you know, I think we are the best people to introduce ourselves, so I will allow you to introduce who you are and, of course, tell us all about Sonkissed Gatherings.
Yes, so my name is Tim. This is my beautiful wife, Stormi, and we are the Covington. And we are founders of Sonkissed Gathering, where we create intimate gatherings through balloons, backdrop, picnic, anything like that.
Yes, so we have been married for 10 years in September.
Yep.
We started Sonkissed in 2021, so actually tomorrow makes 5 years. So really, really exciting. We started in the pandemic, and it was really an opportunity for people to be able to connect and, really like social distance at the same time. But for us, it started because Tim was doing picnics for me. And so he wanted to do a picnic for my birthday. And in that, he was like, I think I have a business idea. And so from there, we said we would do 1 or 2 picnics a weekend. And then here we are with a full-blown business doing backdrops, balloons, and all the things.
That is so sweet. I didn't know. Congratulations on your anniversary. So this
Thank
was
you.
truly meant to be. So I have a lot of questions. First, this idea or this business conception started because of love or Tim's wanting to express his love to you with picnics. Tell me more about that.
Yeah, so I was not in a lot of relationship prior to Stormy, and I remember praying to God that, when I get in this relationship, I want her to feel my love. And so I'm a very creative person. I am a person that's hard of hearing. So I rely a lot on movement, creativity, and things like that. So I only knew what I can do best, and that was to be elaborate, grand, extra. And so I started that with date night, and I recognized that a lot of men out here don't necessarily know how to do that. And I was like, okay. I mean, for me, I'm like, oh, it's simple, but it's really not. But it's all about being intentional to your person, what your person like. And my wife, she's very simple, but yet luxury, grand. So, I had to come correct. So when I started that, I was like, you know what? I want other men to be able to do this, be able to, allow myself to be a resource for other men to do this for their wives or partner or whoever.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. So is this part of your business, or am I hearing another business plan when you are actually being the toolkit, the resource for men to have these extraordinary dates and acts of love for their loved ones? Like, this is really good.
I would say it's a both and, because
Okay.
Tim is a licensed mental health therapist. And so that is how he's able to really help men with that part of the journey too. But then really a lot of his like things that he's like talking about and stuff is really like dating.
Oh.
And so how do you help people be able to not just see the exterior or the physical or like the natural ways of dating, but really bringing that into your sessions in a different way. And so I really love that about him too.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have to do a part 2 because that in itself is a whole other conversation that I think is worthy to expound on. But I know, Stormi, you said you guys started during the pandemic. during the pandemic it was a time, right? Some people were really struggling with, the illness, struggling with being isolated. A lot of people started business, and some of them were successful, some of them were not. What made you all start a business during the pandemic?
Yeah. Honestly, really for us, we were fasting and we were praying, and this was the opportunity to jump into it. And it wasn't even about the money aspect, it was more so being able to provide, again, the resources for people out in the community. And so with the pandemic, we automatically go back to, oh, we can't do nothing, we got to sit in the house, all of that. But for us, we said, no, we can do a picnic where we can still pour back into our marriage or pour back into our family, pour back into any gathering. So anytime we view things as something that's putting us in a bind, that's an opportunity for us to actually go forward. With any business, with any idea, it showed that God can make something out of nothing.
That's
Really just
good.
like taking the limits off and being able to recognize, like, what is the gap and how can I fill that gap?
Yeah.
That's good. I like seeing no limits or seeing limits as an opportunity, right? So even just so how good God is. And speaking of, it's even in your title, the name of your business. Speak to how much faith, I know you guys were fasting, but speak to how much faith plays in your business and in, your marriage and your daily life.
Yes. So faith plays a really big role in our daily life. So the name of our business is Sonkissed Gatherings, and so it's spelled SON. We believe that where two or three are gathered, He is in the midst, and that's scripture. And so that's how we came up with our name. But faith has just been really huge. I've been able to be an advocate for my husband throughout the years through having hearing loss and navigating being a choreographer, a dancer, but now also a business owner. And now roles have kind of shifted a bit, and he's been able to be an advocate for me as I manage and heal from two conditions called endometriosis and PCOS. And so that journey has affected us in many, many ways, and one being fertility. And so, we've been together, married almost 10 years, but we were high school homecoming king and queen. We were best friends in college. We were high school homecoming sophomore prince and princess. So we've known each other for a really long time and walked each other through a lot. And so we've seen these seasons of faith kind of increase, decrease, to be honest. But really where we are now is like really being truly dependent on God and what it is that He's going to do. And so it's just amazing to see how we're at a place in our lives where everything may not be perfect, but we know that having faith in God is all that we got, and that's what has sustained us over the years.
Absolutely.
That's good. Well, congrats of almost a decade of marriage. That in itself, deserves a parade and just a celebratory fest. To be married and in partnership with a business, what is that like?
It's really a blessing, but we like to be real with anybody that comes to us concerning that. It can be difficult at times, but that's part of marriage. Part of marriage where you grow and you evolve, and so we learn so much about ourselves during communication and things. For us, one of the biggest things that concerning us for our business, we love ideas. We can come up with ideas like crazy. We're creative people, but it's the execution that we may have lacked in our business. And so, my wife, she is very strategic. I'm very creative. And sometimes I get too creative that we're not actually sitting down and executing the vision. And so, with the business and marriage, you got to really set that time for yourself. I mean, well, when I say yourself, it's our marriage, and then find that balance to pour into your business. And so I have to make sure my wife feels seen as a strategist and feel heard as a strategist, and me feeling seen as a creative. So it's so many places in marriage, you got to have a lot of communication, a lot of communication, finding a lot of balance. So it's very important as husband that we be very intentional about allowing our wife to feel seen. And so even her as a strategist, I want to make sure that she feel heard, feel seen, feel fulfilled as her role, and me as a creative, I feel seen and heard as my role in my role. And so when that happened, that allow us to really flourish and allow God to send more blessing, more assignment for us to navigate and handle.
Mm-hmm. I think the one thing I would add is also pausing to make time for our actual marriage.
Yes.
Because there have been, in our first few years, we were just going, 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 going. And we had to learn that we have to pause and continue to pour into our marriage. That just because we're having business meetings and we're together all the time doesn't mean that we are actually spending quality time together. And I think once we learned that, we just really took off in even more, because we were stewarding the gift that God gave us through the business as well as the gift of marriage in a different way.
I got you. I like that. I can kind of touch and agree. I'm not married, not in the married part, but in doing business, with your loved one, right? With your husband, with your boyfriend. I know for me, transparent moment. Sometimes I struggle with the communication, especially when I get frustrated. How do y'all handle that? Like still keeping your role, still keeping, who you are as a person, right? But again, functioning in unity, again, the communication. I know you said that it's very important, but kind of break down, what does that look like for y'all?
Yeah. So, well, let me put this out here first. You're going to always have some difficult aspect of communication. How you respond is what's going to help you determine the next level of communication.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, you got to understand what your partner values. They value peace. They value being able to have a checklist. They value, let's have meeting every week. You got to really thrive in what that person need, vice versa. That's what make your communication unique. And you're not a mind reader. You can't assume that this person knows. Just as well as you don't know in and out of the business, you have to give that grace to the next person. And so for Stormi and I, we had multiple businesses before this one, and we realized it wasn't working because we were trying to make things fit. We were trying to get quick money, but actually, let's monetize the things we actually do, and that helps with communication as well.
Yeah. Something Tim says all the time is constant conversations cancels confusion.
Say it again, run that back.
Constant conversation cancels confusion.
Love that.
And so with that, when we first started the business, I was so big on systems, processes, this, and he's like the creative side, and we got like the budget. It's like you're being the CEO, the COO, the CFO, all the things. But we weren't having quality conversation. It was just to get to the next event. It was just to get through what was happening in front of us. But when we slowed down and we started having quality conversations about what needs to happen, what do you need for this event to be successful, what budget does it need to be for us to make a profit, then we could actually get out of the gate successfully. But without that constant I should add quality in there, but without that constant conversation, I think we were struggling to keep up. And so that's what I would say to people, that you have to have conversation about every single thing. There's nothing to be assumed. There is no rock that should be unturned. Every little detail matters. What are we going to do when we get in here? What does preps look like? What does setup looks like? What does breakdown look like? Every single detail matters, and that actually helps you eliminate a lot of the confusion.
I think that's good. So your business and personal, right, intersect, overlap. Is there a time where you separate, okay, this is business, don't take it personally? How does your business and the personal overlap, intertwine, intersect, perpendicular, all the geometrical stuff? What happens?
The UNC Chapel Hill story, but go ahead.
Do it. I love stories. If you want to bring it up. Okay, tell the story. Tell the story.
So this was early in our business. It was probably still in year 1, maybe, or we might have been in year 2. But Tim and one of our team members went to go set up a picnic in Chapel Hill for a young lady. And the picnic, I can't remember how many people it was, but it was a good amount of people, and it ended up being an apartment. And so they got there. Was it an apartment or was it not?
Yeah, it was an apartment. Yeah.
And I think they had to take stairs. It was just a lot going on for this particular event. And then afterwards, he sent me the photos. And when he sent me the photos, I was like, what was that? She loved it. Her friends loved it. They thought it was the most beautiful thing they had ever seen. But when you're doing this every day, I was looking like, okay, y'all were obviously tired. Like, what was going on? But I also had to take a step back because, I know that we do things in excellence. And so I trusted that these photos were just like bad lighting because it just wasn't good in my opinion. But to get to your question, I told him, I was like, I don't know what was going on. This is my perspective, not as your wife who adores everything that you do, but as your business partner, what happened here?
Yeah. No, I'm glad you asked that question, because one of the things I always say is it's not personal, it's spiritual. And we tend to get so into our feelings, which is why we don't post daily. This is why we don't want to put out our business out, because we're taking things too personal. But I always say, imagine if someone is literally dying and they're waiting for your ministry, will you be there to help them live? So that brings in the perspective for us, is that we have to understand, is it us, or are we actually executing the business? We can't make this personal, because somebody is depending on our healing, on our communication. And so that's how we can separate the two. Yeah, and we really talk, like Stormi and I, we have code word, we have things. She'd be like, babe, it's business. And I'm like, okay, girl, you're right. So yeah.
I like that. I like the code words. I might be adopting that. But I think that's important, right? It's spiritual first, right? You know what I'm saying? Like God first and everything. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and all his righteousness. And all these things shall be added unto him.
Absolutely.
And I think that's a good point, right? Because I am building Friends Who Flourish. It's a Christian business. And so before we are seeking to turn a profit, right? Before we are seeking, right, followers, like subscribers and all that good stuff, making sure that you are seeking God first and his righteousness, because that will give you the heart posture, right, to deal with the hard times, to even have discernment on what clients you should be accepting. I think that's very important. So I appreciate that. So tell me again a little bit about the story of Sonkissed Gatherings. So I know it came from the idea of your love, throwing picnics, and then wanting other people to share in that. How has it evolved into what it is today?
Yeah, so it started March 15th, 2021, and it started as a picnic, literally. And in having some picnics, people were asking for balloons. And so the king of YouTube University, he learned in TikTok, how to do balloons, and then it expanded to backdrops. And so during that time, our Instagram was also growing. And so people were asking for just different things. And we were like, well, we'll try it. And so by the end of year one, we were doing backdrops, or we were fully in balloons. And then by year two, we were doing backdrops. And then from there, we have just grown exponentially into like corporate and nonprofit and different like community organizations. So it's not just like personal events for people. And now we're at a place where the Lord had blessed us to buy property. And so with that is expansion of like, what is the Lord going to do next? And so we are not at a place to fully share all of those pieces, but we do know that all of this has been God ordained.
I do want to add this piece, is just to show the evidence of what we've been talking about, is that, with us having a lot of conversation and with us toning it into our gift, she's a strategist person. At first, I was like, I don't know, I want to do no backdrop. But she brought that to the table, because she saw that we can actually expand. And if we didn't have that conversation, we wouldn't be here year 5. So that's why it's so important, at married couple or whoever, when you sitting down in business, have that market plan, have a goal, and work towards it, have communication, and don't make this personal. It's business. Now we're here where we can thrive in that area.
That's good. Let's talk about the business. And I don't want numbers, but are you at a place right now that you are able to pay yourself and your staff throughout the business? Because I talk to a lot of entrepreneurs, and a lot of entrepreneurs just are not taking paychecks home and they're making that the norm. I don't think it necessarily has to be. So, if you want, I don't want any numbers, but are you able to bring, a salary home, and then also still talking numbers, price point? I struggle with that. You know what I'm saying? I have a heart to serve and want to help people, but also have to be realistic. Like, there is value to what I do, the time and the expertise. So how is that determined for y'all?
Absolutely. So in full transparency, the first 3 to 4 years, we did not take income. We believe on paying our team. We believe in paying our team really well. And this year, we are actually both full-time in the business. And so in this economy, it's not always feeling like a yay, but
facts.
Facts. But we do feel blessed to be in that position. The truth is, entrepreneurship is a roller coaster. And there are some months where we have 1 or 2 events and they are really large invoices. And so we can do less work and make more money. And then there are other months where we have to do 9, 10 events to make exactly what we made the following month, and it's more work. And so, it's one of those things where you just learn to navigate. But to answer your question, we have finally got to a point where the business is creating a space for us to be full time.
Amen.
And love it. Most days.
Amen. Now that's real. First of all, that's a blessing. And the most days part, that's real. That's real. What keeps you guys going? Because again, the roller coaster, right? The ups and downs. What keeps you going?
There is, I worked in, it was technically a nonprofit organization, but it was very well funded. And so I made a 6-figure salary, and a really good 6-figure salary. And in that, though, there was still a ceiling. And with entrepreneurship, there is no ceiling. And so I can, in this business, I don't want to say I can, more so is that the business income can, it's just no limit. It can be 2, 3 times, 5, 10 times. But then on the other hand, you've got another month where it's like not that. And so the stability piece, I think, is the hardest part. But at the end of the day, to not have a ceiling is the best part about entrepreneurship to me.
I like that.
I mean, I don't have nothing.
She did that. Yeah. All right. So again, you kind of alluded to it. Don't expound, but what more does Sonkissed Gathering have in their future? So we heard a little bit about the property, and again, congratulations. That's a huge feat. But what else? What's on the horizon for you?
Yeah. So we're just building and hearing from God concerning what's next. Of course, we don't want to prematurely share something that's in the work, but it is something that is going to allow even more people to experience Sonkissed in a way. Like literally the word Sonkissed, like kissed by God outside, whatever it is that we're doing. But right now, we're just really toning into doing what we have now so that we can actually fund the next level of Sonkissed.
Yes, that's perfectly said.
I like that. So let the people know where they can find you and also inquire about booking you.
Yes. So our website is sonkissedgatherings.com. If you want to email us, admin@sonkissedgatherings.com. We are on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. We're all over the place. What did I miss? No, that's it. Find us.
All right, before we close, I do want to hear about one event that you just hold near and dear in your heart that makes you smile, laugh, pat yourself on the back, high five. What was that event?
Yeah, so one event, I think it just really like accelerated us from there. So we had an event for this special young lady, Lori Poe,
Shout out
and
to
for
Come on, shout
Lori.
out.
um, her baby shower. So I had a vision that I want to go big. I want this to be elaborate, grand, and I just had it all in my mind till the last week. I said, okay, let's actually put this into work. And leading up to the last day, which I want to go back, communication is key because I was like trying to be the man, like I knew what I was doing, and I didn't want to bring her in because I want to show like, oh, I got it. Until I really had to call on Stormi and say, look, babe, help me. And just to jump forward, because she'll explain a little bit more, but that actual event was actually one of our best ones because of what was behind it all. And to see Lloyd come in tears and felt love from the people and the backdrop, it was also like a reflection of her life as grand and all of that. And so that's one event we will never forget. But I'll let my wife share a little bit more on that.
Yeah, so to understand the gravity of it, this event is one where it was technically our first real, like, full backdrop. So that's how early in the business it was. I think this was like a year and a half in, maybe almost year two. And this backdrop is massive, and the vision is massive. But when he started working on it, it wasn't coming out as he envisioned in his brain. And so when he called me, I was like, well, let's pivot. This is what we're going to do. And so I sat down with him, mapped it out. I'm literally, when I say sat down, I'm on the phone with him in a different location than he is. We're having to call these different print shops. It's a Saturday morning because thank God the baby shower was on a Sunday. These details are really important because everything that would have usually been available to us was closed. So it meant that we were really relying on Jesus to help us pull this off. And so everything that he had bought, everything that he had done in preparation just was not looking to our standard. Would it have worked for somebody? Yes. But to our standard, it was not working out. And so this day before the baby shower, we are in her shop. We asked, could we use her space because we didn't have our property. We didn't have our workshop yet. And we're setting up this backdrop. And we've gotten the people at like Kinko's to do just off the wall things for us that was legal, of course, but meaning like they were printing stuff at the last minute, big things at the last minute. Like we are like, we'll bring you like we were like committing to doing extra to help these people. But anyways, everything ended up working out better than we could have imagined. And we had to call in friends. We had people blowing up balloons, putting together wood, like so much that happened that I don't think we would have learned had that went well with the original idea. And it really catapulted us because after that, it gave us the confidence to be able to actually put backdrop packages out there, which is how we primarily make our money. And that would not have happened had we not have had those mishaps with that event in the beginning.
I like that. That story taught so much. The art of the pivot, collaboration, gratitude, right? Sticking, to the course despite things falling apart seemingly. So I really appreciate it. I feel like I can sit and talk with y'all all day. I think you are a wealth of knowledge, experience, stories. I definitely would love to have you back. For another episode. Again, before we leave, let the people know who you are and where they can contact you.
Yeah, so we're Tim and
Y'all
Stormi
are cute.
Covington.
I can't take it. Y'all are cute.
We're Tim and Stormi Covington, and we're the owners of Sonkissed Gatherings. And you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, even TikTok or LinkedIn as well.
All right, friends. Thank you all for watching. Make sure you go and follow everything Sonkissed Gatherings. If you're not following Friends or Flourish, please be sure to do that. Again, we are a community that help entrepreneurs grow, succeed, and flourish. We believe that when entrepreneurs have the tools that they need to be successful, they create ecosystems around them for others to be successful as well. So thank you all for watching. Thank you to the Covingtons. Again, I thoroughly enjoyed you Would love to have you back. And I see stuff in the future for y'all throwing stuff for Friends Who Flourish. So I look forward to the partnership. And again, thank you for being on the podcast.
Absolutely.
Bye.
See ya.
Friends Who Flourish is a community where entrepreneurs come to grow. We believe that when entrepreneurs have the right resources, support, and connections, not only do they better themselves, but they create opportunities for those around them to grow as well. So it's simple. Give entrepreneurs the tools they need to flourish, and everyone else around them becomes successful too. I urge you to join our community today. Make sure that you like, that you share, and invite someone else to watch the podcast. Check out us on Instagram and on TikTok. Again, we are a community that believes your environment really, really helps you thrive and flourish. So choosing the people in your community and in that environment matters.